Greetings, I'm Jacob Wright, the Boiling Springs District Representative and Chairman of the Allegheny County School Board. I'm a member and past chairman of our jointly operated Jackson River Technical Center and past board member of our jointly run Jackson River Governor's School. The last time I came before you all was in 2018 when we initially were forming the Joint Schools Committee and submitting our first piece of legislation that eventually led to the $400,000 appropriation that has helped get us where we are now. As of today, we have spent $194,358.10 of that money, with a few bills pending. I would like to commend Mayor Seibold and Mr. Tucker for their commitment to this process and their excellent attendance at the many meetings, including trips to Richmond. Their willingness to make sacrifice in their personal lives to serve as representatives of the City Council on this committee and garner as much information as possible is something to be admired. Mr. Tucker's wife, Jane, was my first teacher when I was in preschool, and his son, Jeffrey, was one of my first classmates at the same school. I've always associated the Tucker family with education in the Highlands. This evening, I've given each of you a copy of our memorandum that contains all joint school services related documentation up until this point. As you will see, our committee has been very dedicated, and this is the result of over 50 meetings. This committee has not taken this task lightly. To steal the words from Mr. Arrett, throughout the process, we have searched for a monster hiding in here somewhere, and we haven't been able to find it. Throughout the process, we have tried to keep our stated goal in mind, to maintain and continue to pursue excellence in education for our area young people while providing the fiscal responsibility the citizens of our community expect and deserve. I believe our committee has shown there are possibilities to that end. At various times throughout this process, members of the committee have traveled to Richmond to meet leaders at the state level, to include Delegate Austin and Senator Deeds, Superintendent of Public Instruction, Dr. James Lane, and Education Secretary Atif Carney. All have expressed interest in our efforts and have offered their support should our proposal be accepted and approved at the local level. The foundation of our work is contained in the feasibility study authored by James Regenball and Dr. Richard Salmon. Those gentlemen combined for nearly 80 years of experience in state, local, and school finance, and their work was a major catalyst to our committee. Following that report's release last December, our committee broke into 5 subcommittees: governance, curriculum, facilities, finance, and transportation. Those subcommittees were comprised of committee members, local experts, and educational professionals from both city and county governments and school divisions, as well as Dr. Ranoni of DSLCC. At this point, it is important to distinguish work the committee is required by state code to do work and that would help local leaders make an informed decision. Virginia Code's 22.1-25 states that specific requirements required through this process, but it is up to the localities to fill in the finer details that actually make the proposal whole. The document before you covers not only the state requirements, but also what the committee believes is an equitable plan for both city and county to provide better educational opportunities for our youth while making more efficient use of both state and local funds. Let it be known that we did not set out to create the leanest school system. We set out to create the most sensible plan that would best utilize local resources and give our students the most opportunities to succeed. The following are some of the highlights of the findings of our subcommittees. The Finance Subcommittee recommends a per-pupil funding formula basis for both yearly budget process as well as shared capital expenses. Existing debt service transferred to localities for retirement. An early retirement incentive package should be offered to right-sized division staff over time. And we are also interested in a 3 to 5 year budget agreement with using averages, much like the JRTC board does, so there wouldn't be a big spike year to year. Our governance subcommittee recommends a 4-3 board makeup with initial appointments giving way to elected seats via referendum. 2/3 majority of the entire body is recommended for superintendent hiring and termination and building closure and construction. Our timeline calls for July 1st, 2022, beginning of the new division, a 2023-2024 joining of student bodies. Facilities Subcommittee recommends a high school, middle school configuration with K through 5 elementary, 6 through 8 middle, and 9 through 12 high school. Current AHS would serve as the high school, and current CHS would serve as the middle school. This was not an easy decision, and Mr. Tucker and I were both on this committee, as well as Ms. Onitis, Mr. Alan Dressler, Ms. Sneed Johnson, and several others. The findings of this subcommittee were based on AHS's capacity and location in reference to JRTC and DSLCC. You will also notice in reading through the proposal that Clifton Middle School is not part of the plan. Covington High School would be the middle school of the school system, and football and baseball would be played at Casey Field, and hopefully softball teams could use the Jackson River Sports Complex with the city's blessings. I will speak more on CMS in the curriculum section. There's also been talk about the lack of high school kids at CHS would hurt Covington's tax bases. This is simply not true. Middle school parents are traditionally a lot more involved in school-related activities than high school parents. This plan also adds about 200 students to the current capacity of CHS, and these are kids from all over the entire county. Who wouldn't want to buy their groceries at the Covington Food Line or pick up dinner at Wendy's while their child finished up practice or simply on their way home from dropping off their child? The Transportation Subcommittee recommends the current Allegheny County Public Schools logistics program TransFinder to help tackle bus routing. The Curriculum Subcommittee explored many different concepts: traditional, project-based, magnet school, and a greater integration with DSLCC. Career and technical education, as well as arts and humanities, have possibilities for expansion. Mr. Tucker and I were both on this subcommittee, and I feel that it is the most exciting subcommittee because this is where the true benefits of a consolidated system are seen. More opportunities because there is a bigger pool of students. Over the course of this project, I've heard the phrase, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Covington schools are not broken. Allegheny County schools are not broken. They're just small. The size of a school system absolutely determines how many classes you can offer. I've also heard people say things like that even in a consolidated system, the local governments are not going to be willing to spend the money to increase opportunity. Currently, the Covington City Council and the Board of Supervisors can't afford to spend more money above and beyond what they currently spend. So how do you fix that? You consolidate, and organically there is more opportunity. There are more English 11 classes offered because instead of having 65 kids taking English 11, you now have 215 kids that need to take it. So it has to be offered more often, offering flexibility within one's schedule. Opportunities for students to try their hands at more electives, more college courses, more career and technical opportunities. Flexibility in a master schedule offers so many more options. Last year was one of the first times I really saw this hit hard on Allegheny. Two of the most popular classes at JRTC had very low numbers of students because of a scheduling problem with sophomore English. If a student wants to be a welder or a carpenter and has no aspirations of going to college, we need to be able to help them get this training. More class opportunities offer this. Electives are what kept me wanting to come to school every day, and whether the elective you love is art, physics, or agriculture, a consolidated school system allows you more opportunities to do what interests you. Dr. Renoni and his board are very excited about creating new partnerships with the joint school system and the idea of acquiring classroom space at CMS for potential expansion of the nursing program and potentially expanding the electrical and instrumentation offerings, as well as other partnerships with our school system, not only in career and technical opportunities, but in the arts and humanities as well. Can you imagine a nursing program that's producing LPNs out of high school? That would be fantastic. When we all work together, we have more opportunities. Sure, not as many kids might not make not as many kids might make the varsity basketball team, but did you know we have a swimming team that consistently competes in states every year that takes place during the same season? The next Michael Phelps might be walking the halls of CHS every day and doesn't even know it. I believe it was last year that CHS didn't have a JV football team. What about all of those kids? I know quite a few that didn't play at all because they didn't feel they were ready for varsity. Small school systems are great, and a combined school system between the two would still be smaller than many of our neighboring systems. In closing, I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of your own and commend them for their service and commitment to this project. Mr. Arrett had only been in his seat a few weeks when we whisked him away to Richmond to meet with lawmakers and the heads of the State Board of Education and the Secretary of Education. A quick learner, he has been steadfast in his work, and while oftentimes he has played the devil's advocate in conversations between the two of us, he's always had the best interest of your school system and city in mind. He is to be commended for his hard work in searching for that monster that could affect the school system that he attended and his children now attend. He has gracefully accepted questions and sometimes ridicule from people, but has remained professional and stuck to his fact-based arguments throughout the process. You have a great board member in Mr. Arrett, and he has been focused on the task at hand. We wouldn't be to this point without the willingness to do the necessary homework on behalf of the City School Board and our committee. I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have.